In these videos, we'll be thinking about vocation. How does God call us and how do we know? When I talk about vocation, I don't just mean public ministry, whether as a reader or ordained person in the church. Of course, God may be calling you to one of those things. But in these videos, I mean that individual, personal calling that God has for each one of us. Every single baptized believer is called to do something and to be someone. So how do we find out what that might be? Well, think for a moment about a bicycle and a helicopter. They're two very different forms of transport, but each one does its job beautifully. Each one is made just right. A bicycle isn't a failed helicopter, and nor is a helicopter a botched attempt at being a bicycle. It's just the same with us. God has made each one of us unique and different. Just like the bicycle and the helicopter, I'm not a failed version of you, and you're not a botched attempt at being me. We're none of us somehow God's mistake. God has made you just as God intended. The idea is beautifully and poetically conveyed in Psalm 139. So then the question is, how has God made you? What gifts and skills has God given you? For the gifts and skills that God has given you are a clue to what your vocation might be. I asked various people what gifts and skills they thought God had given them and how they're using them in the service of God and the church. And here's what they said.
I feel like God has given me the gift of appearing confident. And with that appearance, I'm able to do readings, and I'm considering also going into intercessory prayer as well. So I feel like that some people can't do that. So I'm grateful for the confidence to be able to do that.
I was gifted creativity, and so I use that in youth ministry and filming as well for church, but mainly in youth ministry to create a fun and safe environment where young people can engage with each other, with adults from the church, but also with Jesus. And then I use the sort of filming and editing and stuff like that to help with the services to sort of make it a good environment.
In addition, I have a musical background through my school, and I was able to bring my knowledge and skills of singing evensong, compline in my school to my village church, and I started a choir some 7 years ago now, and I've been able to use what I have been given to help people learn how to sing sacred choral music.
Well, I believe he's given me a gift of hospitality, a gift of being able to listen to people and empathise with them. Over the years, I've done lots of different things. One that sticks out particularly to me is being an independent visitor to a young lad in foster care. I'm still friends with him now. I think we've known each other about 16 years or more. But when he was 8, I started being an independent visitor, and I got great joy from that. And he seemed to benefit from it as well.
So the gift that I have really is in teaching and in caring for others through my role in leadership, in pastoral care, and in spiritual guidance. And I'm also able to recognize the potential in others and value their support in my ministry.
So God has gifted me with a love of theology and the opportunity to study that at both university level and kind of in parishes. And I'm really passionate about helping people to understand God better. I think everyone's a theologian. So when we say God is love, when we say Christ is Lord, we're doing theology. And I'm really passionate about kind of using the skills I've got in theology to help people to understand what they mean when they say things like that. So I love doing small groups, particularly kind of Lent groups, Advent groups, confirmation groups, those sorts of things in parishes.
Well, I'm a bricklayer by trade. So before going into ministry, I ran a small construction business for about 10 years. And I've always been quite a practical and hands-on person. And I like to see the fruits of my work at the end of the day. Well, some of my practical nature comes through helping the church organise with others in our local community, to try and work together for a more fair and equitable society, whether that's through supporting work with local people who are experiencing homelessness. So I was a lay chaplain in a homeless day centre for 6 years before being ordained.
I'm very relational, so I love meeting people, chatting and talking to people and just roaring alongside. So from what I thought was being a rather chatty, overly talkative person, I realised that that's God's gift for me to use to put people at ease and to initiate conversations.
I hope that I am just offering the little that I have and trusting that he blesses that and multiplies it. I am a person that really enjoys being around people. So the last year has been interesting. But I think God takes the little that we have and does extraordinary things through us.
I wonder how you would answer that question. What gifts and skills do you believe that God has given you? And how are you using those gifts and skills in the service of God and the church?